Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. On today's episode, we'll be talking about NXT UK and what happened last night, although I don't know if they're going to have like a proper send-off episode because
it doesn't seem that way, because it seemed like all this is kind of hastily put together.
Yeah, they sort of, yeah.
It's NXT UK's kind of lame duck session here.
It is sad last days of NXT UK, and I don't think they're going to get like a proper send off. So that's kind of a drag. But we're going to talk about the latest results. We're here all the way to the end of NXT UK. We're also going to be talking about on the episode more about the rebrand to NXT Europe. We're going to have your results and review highlights from Impact Wrestling from last night. Another good episode. On the road to Bound for Glory is next one. Yeah.
Victory Road's next.
Oh, that's in September. They're already. Yeah. I feel like they're already looking ahead to Bound for Glory, though.
They are, because the title shot last night was for Bound for Glory. So I guess Josh Alexander's not defending the title at Victory Road.
Right. It seems like it. I know they're going to have like a multi-man instead. We're going to be talking about MJF and when he might be coming back. And but first, of course, yesterday, oh my goodness gracious, we did a special video to talk about reports from the Wrestling Observer and Fightful about some serious backstage heat between CM Punk and Hangman Adam Page. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer added some additional details. He says right now there is a ton of backstage drama involving many of the top guys. It has gotten much worse in recent weeks. There's a part of me where I just think Tony Khan needs to sit everyone down and air everything out before it gets worse. The big thing that started all this is that Colt Cabana is not in the Dark Order with no angle and stopped being brought to television. He was going to be cut, but Khan signed him for Ring of Honor. This is really the catalyst of everything, although different people have different stories as to why it's happened, including Page and Punk. But even if that didn't happen, it was probably going to happen for something else, just given the nature of the different personalities involved. It feels like a number of people are close to their breaking point if things don't get settled. Some background on the Colt Cabana aspect of this story. Back in July, Fightful Select reported that going back as far as March, there were some rumblings that AEW talent were upset about the possibility of Colt's contract not being renewed, and several AEW wrestlers went to bat for Colt as he's popular backstage. Fightful's report concluded, quote, sources indicated to Fightful that Colt Cabana is almost never at AEW TV, if at all, and hasn't been booked to compete in some time. Around mid-April, most believe that Cabana was re-signed as part of the Ring of Honor brand. He remains on AEW's roster page. So we can pause there and talk about that.
So you mentioned the possibility that with Colt Cabana being a member of Dark Order, of course, Hangman kind of being a member of Dark Order too, that, you know, they may have grown close, and that Colt's relationship with Punk could have a part in all this. And, you know, what Meltzer's saying here lends credence to that.
It does, yeah. And, you know, man, when Punk first joined AEW, that was a big question mark, you know, because they have very famously and publicly had a big falling out. There was, you know, legal things going on, lawsuits. And so it was, I felt not really on us to speculate, oh, what is their relationship like now? That's personal business between them. But at this point, when it seems to be affecting the actual on-screen product, it is not, you know, out of pocket, I think, to speculate, is that part of the issue? If Colt Cabana is, and his presence there in AEW is part of the issue as to why there are fissures in the locker room, and CM Punk is, as Tony Khan has put it before, the plus delta, you know, his golden boy. Is that it seems kind of obvious that might be an issue.
At least part of it, at least part of the whole thing. Of course, Colt's been with AEW, not quite from the very beginning, but pretty darn close.
Pretty close to the beginning.
I think once TV started up, he joined, and he's wrestled some. My understanding that he's also a producer backstage.
Right, yeah.
Fightful here mentions well-liked. You know, and a lot of people on Twitter have been talking today about the massive influence Colt Cabana has had on the independent wrestling world.
Oh, absolutely.
Between his podcasts, the way that he grinded to make a living.
He really showed, dude. He was the pioneer in terms of it's
he
like
set the template for it.
You can look at sort of him. You can look at the Young Bucks as well as like, okay, if you're an independent wrestler, he showed you can, if you're creative enough, if you're savvy enough, and if you hustle enough, you don't need WWE. You don't need anybody else bigger. You can do it yourself in the independent ranks. We also like to consider him a friend of the show here. You know, we've interviewed him here before on Going in Raw, and we're Twitch friends with him. We've traded raids quite a bit. Just seems like a super solid guy. We really love Colt here.
Yeah. On the latest PW Torch VIP audio show, Wade Keller also confirmed the heat between Punk and Page, and said that despite the fact that Punk reportedly went into business for himself during his promo Wednesday night, there are some in AEW who think that this backstage beef can be turned into an angle. These transcripts come to you from WrestlingNews.co. Quote, somebody I talked to today said the wrestlers in general do not feel like it is beyond Tony Khan. Others do another work shoot type thing. And he just said that he didn't think that was the case here. But he said, just keep that in the back of your mind, that even if there is a beef, they might think, hey, let's amplify this. Let's turn this into a thing. And so he was sort of like, let's see how things play out once we understand why the Punk-Moxley match was put on early and all that. Let's see how this plays out, because it might turn out like, yeah, there was something there, but when they extended and amplified it beyond the point of resolution because they thought it would be believable and create a buzz, Keller continued, I can report that Tony Khan went into Punk's locker room and spent a decent amount of time with him one-on-one Wednesday afternoon. I can also report that Punk did not seem agitated or distracted or not his usual self right before Dynamite started. It didn't seem like anything was on his mind or that it was a stressful day or anything like that. He was totally going through the normal motions. So there's just a couple contextual things there.
Yeah. Tony Khan went to go to his locker room and hung out with him for a bit. Showed him PowerPoint presentation. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a little.
It's a PowerPoint presentation on why CM Punk is plus delta.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, listen, hey, Punk. Look, I know you're having a tough time right now. Let me show you these numbers right here. Look at this is you, and it's just like a gold star with Punk on it.
Yeah, Punk's there tying his shoes.
Yeah, and what we have here are these. You see these images? This is a pie graph. This is what's called the pie graph. And look at this big chunk of pie right here. It's got your face on it. Because this is how much you mean to me. This pie graph is represented on my heart.
Thank you, Tony. And Tony gives him the huge side
Yeah,
hug.
he gives him the side. He buries his head in his chest.
I know. Huge side hug. You know, there's countless times of wrestling history where a shoot beef backstage led to an on-screen story.
Oh, yeah.
If what's going on here is so intense and so divisive that there's fissures in the locker room, probably not the best idea to put all that out on television without coming to some resolution of the whole issue first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. You got to make sure that
you don't want to expose all the issues, everything, warts and all out there, without first saying, all right, let's make an effort to resolve and set some boundaries as far as what we're going to do this, or if we're going to do this. Otherwise, it's you're fuel on the flame here. Yeah, and you're poured salt on that wound. And it's probably only going to amplify whatever the issues are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know, man. You're sort of playing with fire there, and it seems manipulative at best, darn right toxic at worst. You know, when you do that stuff. I mean, I don't know, man. The absolute worst is, the dirt worst is when Hangman's not booked for a show and you have your champion come out, call him out, and then sit there waiting for him to come out. This dude that you spent 2 years building his story to become champion now looks like an asshole. And it's like, why? And it's bad enough you haven't used Hangman Page in a real story since he lost the title. Yeah. And now he just looks like an asshole, which was apparently the whole idea that, you know, CM Punk wanted to do. That's what he wanted, to make him look like an asshole, because he knew he wasn't. What is he going to do? Walk out there?
Yeah.
It'd be weird.
Yeah. I mean, was that his attempt to confront Page about whatever he said rather than actually going up to him and talking to him?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Like you tell me what coward shit is. You know, like you literally go out there knowing that a person can't respond, as opposed to walking up to him face to face. I don't know. The whole thing just smacks of being a freaking whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, bitch.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully Tony Khan. I'm sure he's an avid reader of the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
Oh,
he's reading this issue and sees that Dave highly suggests that he steps in and tries to moderate some resolution to this.
Yeah.
Hopefully, now that Meltzer has said that, Tony Khan will actually consider it.
Oh, I mean,
great. And try to work something out so he doesn't have a divided locker room, and we don't have to hear stories of all these backstage beasts that seemingly, if a couple people just sit down and talk about it, could probably be worked out.
Yeah. Wasn't there another like billionaire we know of that enjoyed having like a locker room and employees that thrived on confrontation and competition and chaos?
Yeah. Yep.
It's a brand new adventure. Reskinned Vince McMahon. I did notice this too, because I didn't notice in the notes, but I want to talk a little bit about this, get your thoughts on it. Apparently in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer said that the plan for All Out, the main event, still is Punk versus Moxley, so we might get some sort of wonk finish, I guess, on the Dynamite. I'm not sure. I mean, look, I am still in the phase with AEW where I am totally willing to wait and see how it plays out, because if they are able to finagle this real life stuff into an angle, cool. I'm willing to see how it plays out. Still a really weird, it is, thing to say, hey, we've got this great main event coming up at All Out, $50 for pay-per-view buy, and then like we're just gonna put it on free TV, and then they do a wonk finish, and then you do, I don't know, lights out or something in Chicago. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, the way it was presented, that to change the main event, have it happen on Dynamite next week was kind of a late call. So maybe since it was such a late call internally, they haven't had a chance to change the main event for All Out because they don't know what the change is going to be yet. If there is a change,
Yeah.
So let's take a quick break here, get a word from our sponsor, Liquid IV. We've mentioned this a lot on the show. Every week, Steve and I would like to go play some basketball, and we've both been using Liquid IV to keep ourselves hydrated during our basketball games, especially during these hot summer months.
Man, it is so hot outside, and it's so easy to get dehydrated out there when it is so hot. So if I get dehydrated, man, it kills my entire day. I get a dehydration headache. The day is shot, can't be productive at all. Just end up rolled up in my bed, man, just doing a whole lot of nothing.
I hear you there. As you know, Steve, when we're out there on the court trying to ball each other up, I sweat. And I sweat a lot. So staying hydrated is crucial to me playing some quality lockdown defense on you and hitting my jumper, getting that W, which is why Liquid IV has become a huge part of my weekly basketball routine since I've been using Liquid IV during and then after our games. I've noticed my energy levels have been better while playing. I don't feel as sore when we're done.
Oh, absolutely. And Liquid IV is super easy to use. You just put one stick of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water, and then bang, you're good to go. Liquid IV contains 5 essential vitamins, B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C, and has 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks, which means it hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. You also get your choice of 10 flavors, including Concord Grape, Lemon Lime, Pina Colada, and my own personal favorite, Tropical Punch.
Yeah, I've gone through an entire pack of lemon ginger over the last few weeks. I've enjoyed it so much. In fact, both my wife and I have been using Liquid IV when we're exercising, or we just know we're going to be out in the sun. It's become such a huge part of our routine that I had to order 3 more packs just to get us through the rest of this month.
So grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. So wait and see. I mean, look, we're all going to be watching. And he also mentioned, or I think you mentioned here in the notes, that we're going to talk about this here in just a moment. Actually, we'll talk about it right now because a lot of people are saying, hey, what if they change the main event to Punk versus MJF for All Out? Then we're just 2 weeks away. And so we'll talk about MJF now because apparently in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reported that MJF could be returning to AEW shortly. He said this: MJF is currently scheduled to be returning somewhat soon. We don't need to know the exact time. We're not Apollo Crews. We're not Precog. He didn't say that.
He didn't.
He says this: but the negotiations for a new TV deal will likely be taking place starting in just a few months and into the spring. So the TV ratings numbers, probably September to whenever the deal is closed, are the most important to date. So this recent drop is the worst time to have a drop.
Sometimes the Meltzer's run-on sentences make me laugh.
There's a lot in these every week. That's a lot of words that he puts together. And so he strings these sentences together, moves right on.
Yep.
Moves
it's
right
all
on.
stream of consciousness. One thought starts with a capital letter, ends with a period. Anyways, I guess it makes sense now that Punk is back. Bring MJF back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder if one of the reasons MJF had been off TV for so long is because Punk was off TV for so long.
Yeah.
Maybe there were plans to do something more with MJF and Punk after Punk won the title. But once Punk got hurt, maybe the idea was, well, this is assuming that Tony Khan and MJF managed to patch anything up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
With their own beef. And then, once Punk was out, it just kind of seemed like, all right, well, just act like we're kind of fired you, whatever, suspended you. There's no official word, but he was removed from a lot of the promotional stuff, taken off the roster, all that business. And then have you come back when Punk comes back. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea, man. Yeah, somewhat soon. I mean, look, if he really cares about this TV deal, you don't do it before All Out. You wait till right after All Out. He always tries to make those Dynamites after pay-per-views because there's only 4 of them a year. Huge deals, and he's usually really successful at that. I mean, usually those are the premiere episodes of Dynamite. Those are the really good ones. Have MJF return September, what would it be, 6th or 7th or whatever that Wednesday is.
It'd be 7th.
5th, 6th, 7th, yeah. The day after my birthday. So, yeah, that'd be smart. You got that TV deal coming. MJF, he's a big ratings draw guy.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, get that done. But yeah, I'm sort of curious how this is going to play out. On Dynamite this week, we'll all be watching.
Yeah.
Probably crack 1 million. You got to crack 1 million if you're doing Punk Mox for the title, right?
You would hope so. And if not, then
ooh, big problems.
There's potentially larger issues at play with AEW.
No
let's talk more about NXT UK. So, of course, we reported on the changes coming to our beloved
Oh, man.
NXT UK. In short, it's going on hiatus. And will eventually morph into NXT Europe. So along with the news of change came news of releases from NXT UK. And after our news video dropped yesterday, even more names were seemingly released by WWE, among them Trent Seven.
That's shocking.
Yeah. Eddie Dennis, Teo Man. Steve's favorites.
That hurt.
Amir Jordan.
That hurt. Dude, we're probably not going to see, because I think all of D Familia, they're out of the tournament now.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not gonna get like a send off D Familia.
Nope, I don't think there's any send off. It's gonna end in a whimper.
They went out losing.
Yep. Amir Jordan, Zaya Brookside, Sid Scala, and T-Bone have all also apparently been
I'm fine
released.
with Sid Scala. Get rid of that guy.
So shortly after news of the releases broke, Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer tweeted, quote, NXT UK shutting down as a brand after the name will be used for the 9/4 show. But no more UK shows. They will open up a European branch sometime in 2023. Looks like people under contract either brought to the US or will be let go. And Dave didn't necessarily elaborate on any of that in the latest newsletter, whether, either you're getting sent to NXT Prime or getting released. But he did state in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, quote, the fact so many were let go immediately led to skepticism regarding the relaunch, with the idea they wouldn't cut so many people if they were planning on launching something in just a few months. And with the vagueness of the announcement of NXT Europe branch, the day it was acknowledged privately but not publicly by WWE that the UK branch was shutting down.
So the last TV show is going to be September 4th.
That's Worlds Collide.
Yeah, that's right. It's Worlds Collide. Dang.
So it's probably 2 more episodes.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So the Harv here in chat, I think's got it right. The last episode will be the tournament final.
Oh yeah, man! Oh man! What a bummer.
So PW Insider has additional details on these changes, reporting, quote, "It was stated by one source that they were shutting down the brand in order to access and strategize the best way to launch NXT Europe next year with staff centered there, and the idea of touring the brand regionally when the time is right. We were told the door is open for some of the release talents to be brought back down the line, but with the long hiatus ahead until the relaunch, it didn't make sense to keep everyone under contract. Most of the talents released have a 30 to 45-day window before they can work elsewhere beyond local independence." The PW Insider also adds that, quote, "Quite a few people have openly wondered whether yesterday's announcement could be step one to Triple H resurrecting the International Performance Center concept, potentially opening up satellite NXT companies in other countries." I know we were chatting via text last night when news of more releases started coming up, and one of the things we kind of speculated on is whether, as PW Insider here is alluding to, whether they decide to in the end release a lot of the talents rather than kind of like the Ring of Honor situation. Well, we don't know what the future holds. We don't want to keep everybody under contract. So we'll release you so you can go out and work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it seems like that is totally within reason. And, you know, although I don't really want to speculate on who or what or whatever, but I do wonder if there were certain people who were like, you know what? I don't really like, you know, I'll just throw a name out there, Trent Seven. And I'm just using him because he's a little older. He's probably like, what, 38, 39 or something like that at this point?
I think he's early 40s.
Is he early 40s already? Okay. But I don't know, when you're
40 years old.
He's 40, okay. When you're of a certain age, you're less likely to want to, and I don't know, maybe he wasn't given the opportunity, maybe he would have jumped at it. But I'm just saying somebody who's of a certain age might not want to uproot everything to go with there's still some uncertainty regarding the whole thing. I mean, if they don't relaunch this until 2023, and who knows like when in 2023 that's going to happen. You know, I don't know. I mean, I could totally see, given what happened with Ring of Honor, I could totally see, you know, Tony Khan in 30 to 45 days. Guess what? We've got AEW UK. All these great stars that you knew and loved in another place is now here in AEW UK.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, I can see that happening. Oh man. So yeah, the future is uncertain, I guess, for NXT International, but you know, who knows? Maybe this time next year there's going to be a thriving. I like the idea though. That was proffered here in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that it would be a regionally touring brand, like they'd be touring all through. There's so many awesome venues all across Europe, man. And you know, if they're able to drum up the energy that a lot of these shows that we've heard about or seen, like the Rev Pro show that we've seen, you know, that was on Elevation with Pac and whoever he was fighting. You know, if they can capture the energy that sort of built the British wrestling scene in the first place, you know, almost 10 years ago now.
Exactly.
Then yeah, they'll do pretty well for themselves.
I mean, if they just captured the energy of some of the early NXT UK tapings, because some of those crowds were absolutely electric.
I know. I agree. Yeah. When they were going around, I know it really got, pandemic really killed. You know, once they were like, hey, we're doing pandemic, or I'm sorry, when the pandemic happened, we're going to BT Sports Arena. It was just really sterile. And then after that, when they started bringing people in, they'd let 13 people in. And because, you know, obviously, and for good reason, you know, but when so much of wrestling in the first place depends on the energy of the crowd, but especially over there, man, those crowds were absolutely killer. They brought so much to it.
Absolutely. So, you know, if they relaunch this in, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 months, you know, maybe they'll not necessarily take inspiration. Well, here's another aspect, actually, I wanted to run by you. Now, we've seen them, WWE being them, backing away from this a little bit, but with the relaunch of NXT with NXT 2.0, the emphasis was supposed to be not so much on signing indie names. I'm sure Triple H will keep signing names off the independent ranks, but also to develop more talent, former collegiate athletes in-house, and not rely so much on signing people who had already kind of made a name for themselves in independence. And I wonder if part of this relaunch might be adopting somewhat of a similar philosophy in Europe. Well, where we'll sign some of the hotter independent names, but also we want a strong presence here to develop talent from the ground up.
Man, I would be kind of surprised because Triple H has so thoroughly he has, number one, he never stopped doing that. They didn't really, they were not really doing that in UK. Like they were bringing a male, even the last batch of wrestlers had been from the independent circuits in Europe, OTT, et cetera. And Triple H has, if there's one thing he's established, he's doing shit his way.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm sure he will continue to, as they did even under him, they'll continue to scout for athletes they can sort of bring up in-house. But I think that, from what we saw during his time in NXT, he's going to want to compete with AEW for those good independent names, those people who know how to craft a brand for themselves, because that's just sort of, he's obviously going to what he knows.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to seem to indicate that he was going to stop doing that, but I don't really recall a whole lot of names being signed to the UK PC who hadn't had a good amount of wrestling experience outside of WWE to begin with. I mean, I guess maybe Ridge Holland, but I don't know if he had wrestled some after his rugby career had finished up. I don't know, but. Even it seems, even with Triple H coming back in, he's going to sign more independent names, but I don't know if he's entirely given up on the idea of these NIL deals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, remember the reports of the what was it, like the SummerSlam tryouts?
Yeah, we're kind of a mess. Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure Meltzer had speculated that the NIL thing was probably on its last legs. And so I don't know, man. I think Triple H is probably looking out there and he sees guys that he likes, like Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, all of the Triple H guys. They all built careers, and I just feel like we're going to be looking at. I think what he is doing is a total rebuke of Vince McMahon's and John Laurinaitis' philosophy. But that being said, who knows what he learned from that? Maybe he thinks. Maybe he learned something valuable there, but something tells me, Kevin Nash recently said, I think it was devastating what they did to NXT in Triple H's absence. And it seems to be proving that point out right now. He is just rebuilding his old brand again on main roster, doing what he wants to do. I think it's a good question, and maybe we'll see some of that. But I don't know, man. I think this dude's going to be going after people who have built their brands up, and he's going to be taking them and just making them even better. That was what made NXT so good in the first place. He was bringing in those independent names and then just fine tuning them and making them even better.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's talk NXT UK. On yesterday was one of the last, I don't know, handful of episodes left, 2 or 3, something like that.
Yeah.
The title tournament for the NXT Championship, of course, vacated by Ilya Dragunov. Continued.
Yeah, it continued. We know who won the damn.
We know who wins, though, so it kind of sucks the drama out of it. But
yeah,
hey, at least there's good matches. So.
What a bummer. Yeah, they're good. They're good matches. That's the thing about NXT UK. There's always good matches.
Yep. Show opened up with Joe Coffey taking on Mark Andrews, tournament match. They both had promos before the bout. Joe Coffey says, "I'm back, going straight into this title tournament. And how good would NXT UK look with both Gallus boys, or 2 Gallus boys on top?"
Mark Andrews is like one of the biggest. Like, why did they not bring this guy to the U? Why did I not throw like a lot of money at this guy? Mark Andrews is a phenomenal wrestler.
He is really good.
I couldn't imagine matches with Nathan Frazier, Carmelo Hayes, all sorts of dudes over there on main roster and at NXT. It's that one legitimately boggles my mind.
Yeah, it does. Mark Andrews didn't win. Joe Coffey did.
Yeah.
Discus clothesline. to get the W. Afterwards, he has a bit of a promo backstage. He's singing a little song to himself about Gallus on top. He says, my first match back off after a long layoff. It says at the end of this tournament, there's only going to be one man left standing. It's my kingdom. Gallus Boys on top.
Gallus Boys on top. No.
Singing that song to himself again.
Yeah. After that, we had Amel versus Nina Samuels. Again, Nina Samuels is like the second one on the list of like, really?
Like her whole gimmick is like seemingly perfect for main roster.
Oh, perfect for it.
And they love talk shows. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
they love talk shows, and that's her gimmick.
She's an impromptu talk show.
Yeah.
Amel wins with a hope breaker here. After that, we had Oliver Carter exiting the trainer's room. Says his knee is all good. Then Trent Seven steps in. He says, "Is it? That looks like a heavily wrapped knee. That could cause some discomfort. So just give me a bye."
I love that he just leans in and goes, "Say it.
Yeah,
say it.
Give me a bye." And Carter says, "The last time I faced you, we made you former tag team titles." And Trent says, "That was also the most pivotal moment in my career because NXT finally got to see the real Trent Seven, and the real Trent Seven's going to break your leg." And I love he turns to the camera and like talks to the camera as he's talking to Oliver. God, I'm going to miss him.
Yeah, no, Trent's so good.
I can't wait for his debut on AEW UK. Oh,
it's going to be great. Maybe he'll win the championship there. Ilya Dragunov had a promo next, and he's just talking about who's going to take the title, whoever wins this tournament. He says, "I'm curious who will take my place as champion, but pay attention to the wording. Notice the adjective.
Yeah.
Place.
Look at the adjective. Place."
He says, "Whoever it is better sleep well and fight hard because the second I'm back, I'll throw my entire existence in front of you."
Whoa. My entire that dude has got such a way with words.
I know.
He's so good. God damn it, he's so good. After that, we had Andre Chase and Bodie Hayward from Chase U. Crowd loves Chase U. Taking on Eddie Dennis. This is a terrible team. Eddie Dennis and Saxon Huxley. Eddie Dennis, at one point, tags himself in, starts getting in Saxon's face about, "I'm the star here." And then Huxley just walks out. Dennis looks for a finish. Bodie backdrops him, tags in Chase. They hit their finisher for the win. Their finish is great.
That finish is great.
It's a beautiful finisher, yeah.
Flipping flatliner deal. It's so good.
It's rad.
So then Huxley gets back in the ring. Eddie starts giving him shit. And then Huxley hits him with a sit-down choke bomb. Chest bumps Bodie. It seems like, assuming NXT UK had continued, that Saxon Huxley could have been Chase U.
Is this the sad last days of Eddie Dennis? Like, is this the last we've seen of Eddie Dennis?
It could be.
Oh,
it could be.
Gosh, all these matches. Like, I don't know if this is going to be their last match that we've seen of these people. There was no Shaw Samuels this week.
Yeah. I know. Noam Dar mentioned him in this video package, which happened next.
This is a good video package, yeah.
It was hyping up the Heritage Cup match. Yeah, it was a good video package, but Noam Dar is more like, I'm not worried about Shaw Samuels right now. I'm worried about getting that Heritage Cup back.
Yeah. After that, we had Kenny Williams, a cockroach, versus Tyler Bate. Bert! Kenny had a promo first. He says, "Tyler gets opportunity after opportunity, but he always finishes last." He says, "I think it's time for a scumbag like me to finish first." And then Tyler has a promo. Bert says, "Tonight I move one step closer to becoming the first two-time champion, and I'm going to crush Trent Seven's dreams in the process." And, of course, it's a terrific match because it's Tyler Bate, and he can do no wrong. He gets the win with a Tyler Driver 97 to move on.
Yeah, it was a fun match.
Yeah, it was a really fun match.
Twas a fun bout. We also had Impact Wrestling last night.
Holy shit.
Building towards what?
Talk about some fun matches. That opener was killer. Oh, my God.
It was really good. I mean, Mike Bailey, strengthened in his case as Wrestler of the Year, had an awesome match against Chris Bay. That finishing sequence was fantastic.
Nobody has put on as many and as consistently great matches as Speedball Mike Bailey this year.
Yeah.
Terrific stuff.
When he's doing these Impact tapings, he's probably doing 5 of them in the span of 3 days. You know?
I know. But this opener was absolutely killer. Black Taurus
really
versus Laredo Kid versus Ray Horus versus Trey Miguel. And these dudes were just, Black Taurus was just basically like a, what do they call it? The bass, I guess. For like people just spinning all over himself and stuff.
Oh, great.
God damn it, this was good.
It was great. It was so good. It was such an awesome bout. Taurus gets the win here, hits Laredo Kid with, they changed the name of it, and I forgot what it was, but it's a driver of some sort to get the win.
Yeah.
Really awesome bout.
Crazy Steve was on commentary. He told us what it was, but I forgot what it was. Yeah, what's his face?
Destination Hell something.
Yeah, I think it was Destination Hell. I think it was.
Oh, I mean that's what it was.
After that, we had Zicky Dice and Johnny Swinger watching Killer Kelly's win from last week from her debut. Zicky wants to invite her to the dungeon. Tasha Steele steps in, says, "Oh, if you're impressed by Killer Kelly, you must have never seen one of my matches." And Zicky's like, I haven't, but I heard they're really good. And then Killer Kelly steps in, and Tasha says, "Oh, I was just admiring your debut. But understand this. I keep my eye on every woman in here." And Killer Kelly says, "I don't take anything personally." She says, "For me, it's just a fun little game. But if Tasha is keeping an eye on me, just keep an eye. I'm going to keep an eye on you." And then Savannah Evans steps in front of Kelly, and Kelly just sort of laughs and says, she says, "I can remove you either now or in the ring. How about tonight?" And so that challenge is accepted. And that match happens a little bit later. Killer Kelly is fucking fantastic, though. Her whole presentation is just outstanding.
I think this is what NXT wants Jordan Devlin's deal to be.
I think you're right. Yeah. And Killer Kelly does it so perfectly, and with minimal talking.
Yep.
It's all just like presentation and her presence and body language and performance.
Yep.
It's phenomenal, man.
Yeah, it's really good. Next, we're backstage again. Rich Swann chatting up Josh Alexander. Josh says, "I can't say I'm rooting for anybody to win this main event tonight, but Rich, I'd love to face you at Bound for Glory. But if you win tonight, you will be in for the fight of your life." So Vincent steps in and says to Josh, "Impact keeps, making you run the race without giving you any rest. So look at it this way. The winds are blowing with Honor No More right now. We want an emergence. We get our tag title shot. And after tonight, Ed Edwards be #1 contender. You've had a good run, but that luck is about to run out."
You have to give Honor No More some points for persistence.
I guess.
There's an amount of perseverance there. They have to contend with Heath being oddly the most effective faction hunter we may have ever seen, because he really does sort of get under their skin far more than he probably should. In fact, match, we had a match up next, Kenny King versus Heath. Heath gets the win with a win. I was like, oh man, Kenny King's got like 4 or 5 other people on his side. None of them were out there. But it's like, that's the whole point of being in a faction. You got all these people on your side. Heath is one man. He doesn't have Rhino anymore.
Nope.
And Heath gets the win here clean.
Yeah. Then Honor No More comes to the ring.
Yeah.
After the match is over. They start beating down Heath. Bennett is about to hit Heath with a forearm. Ed Edwards stops him and then says to PCO, "Take him out."
Yeah.
And then PCO is just kind of like, do it, just being PCO, but not necessarily hitting Heath. But that allows Heath to escape. He hits Bennett with a wake-up call and leaves through the crowd.
That was hilarious because, Ed Edwards kept on just yelling at PCO. PCO, like you said, just being confused Frankenstein, like, I don't know what to do. Who's Heath? and then I don't know.
Yeah.
Which one
Play
is
me in the
Heath?
direction of Heath, please.
And then all of a sudden, Heath just out of nowhere hits Mike Bennett with a wake-up call and falls.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Oh, God, nobody noticed.
They're trying like hell.
Yeah.
To make it seem like there should be some division there. But it's like, it's just PCO, his character.
He's perpetually confused. He has like a robot brain character. Or whatever. It's like a reanimated brain.
Yeah, that's his character. What do you expect? Gosh.
Oh, man.
After that, we had a Triforce promo. Chris Sabin says that Emergence was not a good night for them. They all lost.
Yeah.
They all lost.
Yeah.
He says, but Kushida and I lost because there was 3 of Violent by Design and only 2 of us. But next week, that's going to change because it could be a 3-on-3 match. Alex Shelley is going to be with him. So Shelley dubs Kushida best wrestler.
Yeah.
Sabin, most underrated wrestler. And says, Violent by Design, you're going to find out firsthand, and redubs them all. They're not Triforce anymore. They're Time Machine, which makes sense. You get Time Splitters, Motor City Machine Guns. Makes Time Machine.
I wonder if they were like, hey, let's be Triforce, and then they realize, oh, man, we're like 3 episodes deep into the taping. We can't change it now. Why don't we call ourselves Time Machine? It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
I like that, Sabin gave an excuse for why they lost, but he didn't give one to Alex Shelley.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, you had a great match. It was phenomenal, but you lost. We lost too, but I mean, come on. It's because it was 2-on-3.
It was 3-on-2.
You just lost because you were worse than the other guy.
Next, we have Honor No More complaining backstage about why they're garbage.
This
their own
is
ineptitude.
a weekly segment of them just complaining about them being garbage.
Yeah, and so Bennett says, well, Gallows is hurt. Who knows when we'll get our tag titles? Let's go talk to Scott. So Taven, Bennett, Maria leave to go talk to Scott. And as they're leaving, you see Ed Edwards walk up to PCO, but then they cut away, so we don't know what happens.
I know what happens. He yelled at him and said he didn't trust him.
And then PCO just did this. Which is what he always does.
That's all he does. He goes,
that's all he does. That's all he does, ever. So then Taven, Maria, and Mike Bennett walk up to Scott D'Amore. And Taven is like, all right, we got off on the wrong foot. Blah, blah, blah. When's our title shot? And Scott D'Amore says, well, Doc Gallows is out for a couple of weeks. And Maria says, well, you're just delaying the inevitable. She says, I've known Bullet Club for a long time, and I think they're too lazy to face us. We got no time for laziness. Just make it a handicap match, Bennett and Taven versus Carl Anderson for the tag titles. And Scott D'Amore says, well, that sounds like unfair odds. That doesn't surprise me coming from Honor No More. It seems like with you, there's always unfair odds. So how about this? Next week, Bennett versus Carl Anderson. If Carl Anderson wins, Maria, you're banned from ringside for the tag title.
And they're pissed off about that now, too. Oh,
what's PCO still doing?
Oh, God damn it. That's funny. After that, we had Savannah Evans versus Killer Kelly. Killer Kelly's theme song is so good, too. It's like something out of a David Lynch movie. It's just unsettling. Oh, yeah. God, it's so good.
It is really good.
Yeah. So anyway, she wins with a killer clutch. Savannah tries to get to the rope, but she taps out. And it's great because the whole time, Tasha Steelz is there at ringside, just looking thoroughly unsettled by what's happening to her heater. But that was good stuff. After that, I like this stuff too. Rosemary is with Taya.
Rosemary was great in this.
Oh, I know. She was really good in this. With Taya and Havoc backstage. She says, you know what? I was worried about us going into emergence without being ready, and now look we lost the title. She says we need to regroup. She says we need time. She says we have nothing to lose now, and we need to recapture those tag titles when we're ready. And Havoc says, oh, the time is next week. I talked to Impact Management. I'm making my debut match next week because now it's Jessica Havoc. It's not Havoc, it's Jessica. She says, I've got my debut match next week. And Rosemary's like, wait a second. We just said we need time to get you ready. She said, okay, listen, Taya, you need to go away because you're distracting. We're going to get you ready, Jessica. Just listen to us.
I got some breaking news confirmed via Shawn Michaels on Twitter. I guess due to injury.
No,
Zoe and Nikita will not be competing in the tag title tournament. Instead, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane will take their place.
Toxic Attraction. What's PCO's reaction? What's PCO's reaction?
He just stands there and tries to roll his eyes in the back of his head. That's all he does. Yeah, that's it. That's all he does ever. What do they expect from PCO?
I don't know. He's got half a brain.
After that, we had a Jordan Grace interview. She has talked about getting what they call a death warrant, whatever they call when Masha hands a picture with the extra.
I've got the death warrant on 5 systems.
Thank you. And Jordan says, I didn't win this title to hide from competition. I want to defend it against anyone. And right now, Masha is at the top of that list. And she's asked about her match against Mia, but Mia not shaking her hand. She says, hey, Mia, after that match, has all my respect. Deanna and Chelsea step in. They say maybe Mia didn't shake Jordan's hand because no one likes her. She's the least liked person in Impact. And Jordan says, maybe I don't need a friend, but I'll take you, both of you on myself. Mm-hmm. And then Mia steps in and says, hey, no one, put words in my mouth. Jordan and I may not see eye to eye, but I'll stand by her and challenge you to maybe, hey, make it for the tag titles.
Yeah. And then they do she says, by the way, I still owe you a handshake. Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm sorry. Impact Brands, their Knockouts division is so well thought out. Dude, think about this. They got Masha Slamovich. They have done her so perfect. They have nailed her so perfect with the fucking death warrants and all that shit. Killer Kelly, Mia Yim, when she came in and they had the Jabberwockies entrance, it's so
good.
well done.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good. Next, we had Chris Bay versus Mike Bailey. I didn't take a whole lot of notes because I was in awe of what they were doing, especially in that end sequence, which led to Bailey hitting Ultimo Weapon. This match is so good. Go out of your way.
Outstanding.
Go watch it.
Outstanding stuff.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is. It's really something else, man. Impact, dude. Impact's. I don't know what they need. They need to get like on a better channel or something. I don't know what the deal is, but it's actually these days it's really good.
I mean, I've been saying this for a while. It's the most consistent show in wrestling.
It is, yeah.
It may not reach the highs that some of the other promotions do, but they definitely don't get near the lows. It's just a really consistent, enjoyable show.
It is, but like the quality has been noticeably better lately.
Yeah.
Like they have found such a good groove. Like there was a span of time when it was like who's their champion? Like Rich Swann was a decent champion. Like Kenny had the title, Christian had the title, and it's like, okay, so now that Josh Alexander, who's firmly an Impact guy, and he is so legitimately like an unbeatable guy, they are in another level right now. Like they've got every division is figured out except for like the tag division is like kind of whatever right now.
I mean, it's been locked up in this Good Brothers Honor No More thing forever.
Right,
but once that's resolved, I think it'll be, the division will open up a lot more. Because that was always kind of the knock on Impact is like all the divisions are great except the main event scene's a little weak.
Right, and now
you're right. Now that Josh Alexander is really being booked as the guy, the guy they're building the main event scene around. And now he's taken out a bunch of people from Impact's past. Defending the title against them, it's been pretty solid.
Yeah,
it's pretty solid.
But of course, now he's going to be in a thing with Honor No More because
so that'll last 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. So after that, before we got to our main event here, Brian Myers is backstage. He's approached by Gujar, and Myers says, "Hey, man, great match and everything, but now you're at the back of the line." And Gujar is pissed. He says, "You pissed me off, and it's far from over." And he shoves him against the wall, and Myers tries to punch him, and Gujar just catches the punch. Does the old Superman 2 thing.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yep.
Then we got our main event, 6-way elimination match. So we got Ed Edwards, versus Steve Macklin versus Moose versus Rich Swann versus Sami Callihan versus Bandito. Sami Callihan's the first one eliminated after Moose hits him with a spear, but pretty much as soon as Moose gets up from the cover, Macklin rolls him up. Moose is eliminated. And then Bandito eliminates Macklin after that 21 plex. That's such a cool move.
Oh, man, it is, yeah.
And then Rich Swann hits Bandito with the Phoenix Splash. Ed Edwards, tags himself in, sends Rich into the ring post, and then hits Bandito with a Boston Knee Party, covers Bandito, eliminated. So final two, Ed Edwards, Rich Swann. So this bit kind of didn't make a whole lot of sense. So Ed Edwards goes and gets a kendo stick from out of the ring. So Swann is trying to reach out and grab him and bring him back in the ring, and yet the ref is trying to hold Rich Swann back.
Yeah, he was getting grabby.
And so in theory, what was supposed to happen here is the ref back was turned, holding Swann back. Therefore, Ed Edwards could hit Rich Swann with the kendo stick. Two problems with this: one, peripheral vision; two, the unmistakable sound of someone getting hit with a kendo stick.
Yeah, and the ref wondering why Rich Swann is completely laid out.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Anyways, Ed Edwards covers. Swann kicks out. Then Ed Edwards hits the Boston Knee Party. Swann kicks out of that. Die Hard Driver to get the win. He's going to face Josh Alexander at Bound for Glory.
Yep. Yeah. We got a SmackDown preview already noted. The news about Toxic Attraction taking the place of Nikita Cronus Lyons and Zoe Stark.
Got more too.
Ooh, and more preview.
They actually filled it out. Oh, it hasn't made this way there. So this is what we got. Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre face-to-face. That's in the notes. And then also added, they're actually branding it as SmackDown 1200.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 1200th episode, yeah.
Natalya and Sonya Deville to face Toxic Attraction. And women's tag title tournament. Gunther's next challenge will be determined in Fatal 5-Way. So there's Ricochet, Moss, Sheamus. Sheamus is in the very center, so he'll probably win. Imagine we get Sheamus and Walter at Clash at the Castle.
Hey, the front and center guy was in our G1 predictions video?
Okada.
Yep.
Yeah. Corbin and then Sami Zayn, and then Viking Raiders to pay their respects to the New Day with a Viking funeral.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be good. We're going to do a silly segment here. Viking funeral. We got a couple questions. I put up a questions thread because I didn't know. I know these episodes usually go long because of the Impact reviews and everything.
Yeah.
But I figured wouldn't hurt. See if somebody asked a question here. Got a couple minutes. We could do that. It's a Friday.
Sure.
Let's see here. Here we go. We got 10 questions. Let's see here. Rotunda Man says, do you think that the backstage atmosphere in AEW is always this bad and it's just been overshadowed by WWE's problems? Or do you think the issues are fairly recent? I mean, if Meltzer is to be believed, it seems to stem from Colt Cabana being...
at least this instance, yeah.
But I don't know, man. I mean, there was always reports of, the what was it, the Young Bucks emails with Cody or whatever that stuff was. What was that? It was like, what was it?
Was that about nobody liking Cody?
Or them being on it was something about them not being on the same page.
Yeah.
With Cody, and there were emails involved. I forget what it was. I don't know, man. When you bring together a bunch of creative people, and especially AEW, which one of their goals is to offer up a variety of styles.
Yeah.
And storytelling philosophies. I mean, I believe that's why, and he seemed to allude to it, that's why Cody left. Because, the storytelling apparatus there wasn't to his liking.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get conflict like that. And then you bring in, these big money players like CM Punk, and it's a recipe for potential for some fissures.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows?
Curse of the Moon asks here, Okada has pretty much done everything he can in New Japan. Can you see him jump into the U.S. promotion? And which promotion would you like to see him in?
I would love to see what Triple H would do with Okada and WWE now. I would love to see that. Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
But the only thing he hasn't done is broken. I think Tanahashi still has a record for most title reigns.
I don't know.
He hasn't broken that.
I don't know if this would happen. But after seeing Kenta's book tour, I kind of want to see Kenta give another go in WWE. But I don't know if he had a good time there, even under Triple H.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was hurt so much.
He was hurt a lot, yeah.
So Okada has 5 reigns with the IW. I mean, I don't know if this includes the new belt, though. Okada has 5 reigns, and Tanahashi has 8.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Okada has the most defensives, most combined days as champion, but it's about the only thing that Okada hasn't accomplished yet.
Let's see here. Fatboy 95 Mario says, under Triple H, what seems like the most likely Mania main event? I still think it's Roman Reigns versus The Rock.
Yeah, I don't think that's changed.
I mean, The Rock was probably Mankind, at least early on, were Triple H's top feuds back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That SmackDown segment from years ago when him and The Rock had a face-to-face backstage is something like 19 million viewers or something on WWE's YouTube.
Well, apparently when we were at Mania 31, they had that extended bit in ring when Ronda made her debut. Yeah. That was apparently supposed to lead to Triple H versus The Rock the next year at Mania.
Oh shit! I don't remember that. That's funny. Yeah, man.
I just read about that recently.
Oh, I think totally Triple H. I think Triple H loves The Rock, and I think he understands The Rock versus Roman. That's got to be the match if they can get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, the top money match they have potentially is Rock Roman for sure.
Mm-hmm. Tristan says, how do you see AEW turning the shoot with CM Punk and Hangman thing into a storyline? So do you think they'd try to loop in Hangman at some point, given that it seemed to be like a Hangman Punk thing?
I mean, in all honesty, if it's so bad that I mentioned earlier, if it's so bad there's actually divisions in the locker room, then don't make it a story. Deal with the issue.
Yeah, right.
Don't exploit it for storylines.
Yeah, you want like a Scott Steiner, Ric Flair situation here.
Because if it continues on TV as a storyline without any indication that it's been worked out, it's going to be awkward to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because all I'm going to think is when anybody drops promos on each other, it's like, oh, that's going to piss them off.
Well, also,
they're going to be upset about that.
Also, they don't script their shit. They just he just says, go out there and do whatever. So it's just going to be
exactly.
It's going to be awkward. It's like presentation wise. Are you done talking? You're only here because you needed money. When that shit just gets awkward, just two people staring at each other.
I know.
And that's just not. It's not good. It's not compelling. It just comes off as amateur hour.
Harv here asks, does Rock Roman match at Mania need to be for the titles at this point? Roman needs to have the titles.
Yeah.
He needs to have the titles.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's what really reinforces his case of being head of the table.
Jorge says, I want to see Tony Khan give Okada a side hug. What would if Tony Khan gave Okada a side hug, what would PCO's reaction be? That's going to do it for us, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.